What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. Just before we get into the video, don't forget to like or dislike the video, subscribe, turn on notifications and leave a comment down below. Early 90s WWF was certainly a strange period in wrestling. Whilst Hulkamania was still a huge draw, Hogan wasn't as big as he was in the 80s, both in terms of size and popularity. Once the WWF saw farewell to massive 80s wrestlers such as Randy Savage and the Ultimate Warrior, the WWF ushered in the new generation, bringing in a number of forgettable and unforgettable child-friendly gimmicks, as well as creating huge stars such as Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, who went on to have legendary careers. Both legends have now retired, concentrating on other passions outside of wrestling. There are, however, some wrestlers who are unable to walk away from the squared circle and continue wrestling into their early 50s. Whether they have to keep wrestling to pay the bills or just can't step away from the ring, these 10 wrestlers were all once massively popular during the early 90s and still are wrestling in 2017. If you didn't see some of the wrestlers that you thought belong on this list, check out our other previous video covering 80s WWF wrestlers. Number 1. The 1-2-3 Kid. More famously known as X-Pac, Sean Waltman debuted in the WWF in 1993 at the young age of only 20 as the Kamikaze Kid. He experimented with a few more names, becoming the Cannonball Kid and just the Kid, before making his TV debut on Monday Night Raw in an upset win over Razor Ramon, and henceforth becoming the 1-2-3 Kid. The Kid quickly became a fan favorite in the WWF, but left in 1996 only to return in 1998, joining D-Generation X. Unfortunately, his wild lifestyle would take its toll on Waltman and he would become involved in a number of controversies. Nevertheless, Waltman continued to wrestle and would go on to wrestling in TNA, joining his buddies Scott Hall and BG James. After TNA, he would appear in a substantial number of promotions including Chikara and AAA, before returning and making several appearances in WWE, including his run-in with D-Generation X at WrestleMania 31. Looking much healthier and recently cleared of charges involving pills carried at Los Angeles airport, Waltman continues to wrestle on the independent circuit, even teaming with Billy Gunn representing D-Generation X. Number 2. Tatanka. Tatanka surprised probably all 100,000 plus in attendance at WrestleMania 32 when he entered the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Whilst he wasn't in the best shape possible, he still performed well and was among some of the final wrestlers to be eliminated. Debuting all the way back in 1992, Tatanka had an impressive winning streak until Finnish wrestler Ludwig Borger put an end to it after 2 years. Tatanka would remain in the WWF until 1996, before leaving and wrestling on the independent circuit. It wouldn't be until 2005 that he would make his return to the WWE. What was only intended to be a one-off appearance, Tatanka returned to a full-time schedule as both a singles wrestler and oddly tagging with Matt Hardy, feuding with Eminem. He would return to the independent circuit before making his WWE appearance at WrestleMania 32. Tatanka is still not done with wrestling and recently wrestled in Ultimate Championship Wrestling. Number 3. The Steiner Brothers. The Steiners were at the top of their game in the early to mid 90s, winning the WWF and NWA WCW Tag Team Championships early on in their career. Whilst their run in the WWF was short, they made a huge impact going over as babyfaces. The brothers competed in matches all around the world before disbanding in 1998 and Scott Steiner turning heel, taking on a much different look. Now with increased muscle mass and a new no-nonsense attitude, Scott was on the road to a huge push, eventually becoming WCW World Heavyweight Champion. As for brother Rick, he didn't mirror the same success and went on to form tag teams with a number of different wrestlers in WCW, including Judy Bagwell. The brothers reunited in 2006 and went on to wrestle together as a tag team in TNA before ending the team once again in 2008. While Scott continued to wrestle as a singles competitor, Rick took a backseat to wrestling and concentrated on his real estate business before returning to wrestling in 2013. They continued to wrestle as both tag team and singles competitors in 2017 and recently appeared in Game Changer Wrestling on the 17th of October. Number 4. Savio Vega. Juan Rivera started off his WWF run strangely as Kwang the Ninja in 1993. Even though it lasted for just under 2 years, the gimmick wasn't popular. Juan was repackaged as Savio Vega and allied with kayfabe childhood friend Razor Ramon, losing in the finals of the 1995 King of the Ring tournament to Mabel. He feuded with Steve Austin before fading into the background, losing a number of undercard matches. Vega then turned heel, joining the Nation of Domination before forming his own stable, Los Boricuas, and being involved in the 1997 Gang Wars. He would enter the Brawl for All tournament before leaving the WWF and joining the IWA until 2008, before working as a road agent for TNA and working in their Indian promotion Ringka King. He has since been active in many Puerto Rican promotions, having most success with World Wrestling Council, World Wrestling League, and more smaller promotions such as CWA. Number 5. Jeff Jarrett. Co-founder of Impact Wrestling, Jarrett started off as an upper mid-card country singer in the WWF as Double J Jeff Jarrett, becoming a much hated arrogant heel, feuding with Razor Ramon and eventually becoming the WWF Intercontinental Champion. He would bounce in and out of the WWF, returning to invade the WWF within Jim Cornette's NWA stable before leaving once more and reprising his country singer gimmick with a new attitude, winning the WWF Tag Team Championship with Owen Hart before leaving the WWF in a controversial contract dispute that allegedly had him extort money from Vince McMahon in order to wrestle without a contract. He would return to WCW, having better success and winning the heavyweight title. When WCW folded in 2001, Vince never forgave Jarrett and decided he should be gone. He would instead create a new promotion calling it Total Nonstop Action Wrestling, acting as a competitor and running backstage operations. Even though Jarrett has made less appearances wrestling, he has formed good relationships with other various promotions, including AAA. However, Jarrett caused much controversy when he pelted fans with tortillas at this year's Triple Mania. Number 6. Sid Justice. After leaving WCW in 1991, losing to El Gigante, Sid tried his luck in WWF, where he would appear as a guest referee in the SummerSlam 1991 event. Sid would eventually turn heel and main event WrestleMania 8 with Hulk Hogan. Sid would have the perfect look for a champion, but it wasn't until his return in 1995 that he would go on to winning the WWF Championship from Shawn Michaels, but would then leave again in 1997, requiring neck surgery and moving on to WCW in mid-1999. It was there he would have his career-threatening injury, breaking his leg in half. However, not only did Sid recover, but he returned to wrestling in 2004. Sid even wrestled a match against Heath Slater. But this year, however, Sid wrestled his last match ever in Great North Wrestling, defeating Paul Rosenberg in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Number 7. Bob Holly. Entering the WWF as NASCAR driver Thurman Sparky Plugg in January 1994, he achieved moderate success as WWF Tag Team Champion with the 1-2-3 Kid. He later went under the name of Hardcore Holly after winning the Hardcore Championship and later teamed with kayfabe cousin Crash Holly. Holly would be best known for his controversial appearance on the 3rd series of Tough Enough, where he stiffed competitor and trainee Matt Capitelli. After a run in WWE's ECW, Holly faded into the background and left the WWE in January 2009 after a 15-year tenure with the company. Even after his long run with the WWE, Holly carries on wrestling with various promotions in Europe, including making a one-off appearance in TNA. Still in phenomenal shape for 50 years of age, Holly was seen recently wrestling in independent promotion CCW. Number 8. Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn started off in the WWF as one half of the tag team Smoking Guns in 1993, winning the WWF Tag Team Championship. He was of course more recognized in the stable of D-Generation X and one half of the New Age Outlaws. Gunn was with the company for 11 years before leaving and moving on to TNA, reuniting with former partner Road Dogg. He returned to the WWE in 2012, reuniting D-Generation X with former partners and returning to a full-time schedule until 2015. Now at the age of 53, he still wrestles in New Japan Pro Wrestling as a member of the Bullet Club Hunter stable in 2016 and took part in the G1 special in the US. Number 9. Hakushi. Dressed in white, with Buddhist shikeo tattooed all over his upper body, Hakushi was a mysterious character who never spoke but brought a new style to wrestling in the new generation era. Though he didn't last long in the WWF, he was more famously remembered feuding with Bret Hart in the inaugural In Your House pay-per-view. Hakushi was then demoted to lower mid-card, feuding with both Barry Horowitz and Skip of the Body Donners before leaving the WWF in 1996 and moving back to Japan, wrestling in New Japan Pro Wrestling and Frontier Pro Wrestling. Since 2003, however, he became president of Michinoku Pro Wrestling, which has become his mainstay, where he wrestles in 2017. And number 10, Jean-Pierre Lafitte. Canadian wrestler Carl Ouellet started out in the WWF as one half of the Quebecers, with Jacques Rougeau winning the WWF Championship 3 times. After the tag team disbanded, Ouellet was repackaged as a singles wrestler and became Pirate Jean-Pierre Lafitte, engaging in a feud with Bret Hart in 1995. Ouellet seemed to be destined for big things in the WWF. However, he refused to put over Diesel at a Montreal house show, ending with a clean finish. As a result, the match ended in a double countout. Due to his refusal putting over Diesel, the Clique quickly exercised their power backstage, burying Ouellet, who was then subsequently fired. Ouellet wrestled in a number of different promotions, including WCW, ECW, and eventually TNA. He wrestled on the independent circuit until 2011, announcing his retirement. However, since 2016, he has returned to pro wrestling, wrestling at an MWF event in Quebec, Canada. He continues to wrestle in 2017, wrestling with Great North Wrestling Promotion earlier this year. Well guys, there you have it, 10 popular early 90s WWE wrestlers who are still wrestling in 2017. Again, apologies for my voice today, I still haven't recovered 100%, but I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.